Hello there. My name's Priskis, and welcome to my year in review. Now that it's a new year, I just want to look back at all the builds that I've done in the previous year, specifically on my home world. You see, I have a modded single player survival world that I lovingly refer to as my home world, and I've been doing build videos on this for just over a year now. So I want to look back at all the builds that I've done this year and just sort of take it all in, see what we've done, and see where we can go. As we're going through these, I'm going to be rating each of these builds. It'll be on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, of course, and it'll be based on the build's appearance, the enjoyment that I had while building it, and the enjoyment I have after it is built. Because honestly, why would I build something if I can't actually enjoy both the process and the finished creation? First up, we have the Froglight Factory. I built this in June, and honestly, I love this little dude. He's one of my favorite builds of all time. Just look at him, he's just going bleh. I think this is one of my first organic builds that I've done. Fun fact about the video for this one though, I kind of forgot to record half of it, so I didn't even do an actual breakdown like I wanted to. Overall, I think I'd rate him an 8 on appearance, a 10 on the enjoyment during, and maybe a 9 on the enjoyment after. That's only a 9 because of the upkeep of the frogs. They keep dying. So the design of the farm itself is not quite there, but honestly, I think the redstone of this farm makes up for the frog annoyance. Oh, that gets me every time. I love it. All right, on to the next one. Up next, we have what I've been lovingly referring to as new home. I'd outgrown my starter base, so I went ahead and made a new base inside the side of a mountain. I wanted to simulate like this tree overgrowing this building that's perched. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the build. I really, really like the exterior of it, both the front side and the back side here. Okay, well, this one's okay. I'll say that much. It can be better, but I do have this little garden space which I really like. Overall, this one was an experimentation. I wanted to play around with leaving as much of a natural cave system as I could while still building stuff in here. And for that premise, it worked out really, really well. I love this space in particular, just the airiness of it, all the glass with the light coming in and the tree. It feels very nice. I also really like over here, our little entryway, we have this nice little, I guess, gallery garden thing going on. Overall, I think it's a pretty nice build, even though the bed is difficult to get into. I have to literally go up the stairs and around a tree and climb up to get into the bed. But I do love the fact that my bed is in a tree. It's very, very cozy. I think overall, I would give this base a 6 on appearance, an 8 on the enjoyment of building it, and maybe a 7 on the enjoyment after. Because to be honest, the appearance isn't that good. Okay, maybe I'd bump it up to a 7 if the backside was a little prettier and if the inside had a little more going on. But overall, it's not bad. My enjoyment of it afterwards is it's okay. It's a base. It serves its purpose. There's some aspects I need to change about it, but that's for the future Pris to deal with. All right, to the next one. Okay, next up is the Blaze Farm. I built this one in August. This is actually the second version that I have built. The first one I built, trust me, you don't want to see it. It literally looked like it was a pile of poop on the side of the mountain here. That's when I learned that I should not overdo the dark brown wood. But this is our Blaze Farm and Potion Brewing area. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this build turned out. You should see this at night. Actually, there. I just really like this bottom part the most, though. This is actually really nice. And to be honest, I gave this bottom part a 6. And the top part, I gave it a 4. There's not very many ways you can make a blaze farm look pretty. It just looks like a giant cube floating in the sky. This rain of fire sort of coming down, like with these simulated blaze rods, because it's supposed to look like sort of like a blaze head where the farm is, and then these blaze rods coming down. That part I enjoy. It was extremely difficult to do, but that was my favorite part. I would give that one little part of it maybe a 9 out of 10 on appearance. As far as enjoyment during building it, I'd say maybe a 5, maybe a 6 for this lower part. It turned itself around towards the end. Enjoyment after, I'd say, is about a 6, because in the end it came together pretty well, in my opinion. Yeah, sorry, not all of these are going to be positive reviews, but they're my honest reviews. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, this one. This one is one of my all-time favorite builds. This is my Guardian farm. If you can't tell, it's a giant octopus. I love this one so much. I drained an entire ocean monument, ripped it out, and replaced it with a giant octopus. And look, it's even got like shipwrecks and stuff all around. There used to be a little villager there, but I guess he died. But it was set up to where the octopus would be staring at the villager, just clutched in his hands. And inside of his head here is where the Guardian farm is. I just, I love this build so much. I am never going to get over how much I love the glass waves that I did. You can tell that the water is being thrown up by the tentacles moving around, and the way that some of them just cover the tentacles below. I popped off on this build, just gonna say that. This was also the build where I finally built a sand duper halfway through it. Like, I fully decimated a desert to get all of this glass in here, and it wasn't until I got about halfway done with all of these wave parts that I finally realized that it's probably easier to build a sand duper and just run that versus going and digging up an entire desert. Oh, that poor desert community. But I'm very, very happy with this one. I think overall, I would rate this a 10 on appearance, an 11 on the enjoyment during, and a 10 on the enjoyment after. This is the only one that's going to be exceeding a 10 rating on any of them, because this was one of the funnest builds that I have ever made. It was so enjoyable. It was also my first time using Axiom in a build, and y'all, if y'all haven't started using Axiom, please do. It is so handy. This is my all-time favorite build of 2024. Like, this is probably going to be the thumbnail, y'all. Like, I love this octopus so much, y'all. Nothing's ever going to top this for me. But we're not done yet, okay? On to the next build. Let's go. Okay, this is the bee bakery. This is where we have our honeycomb farm and our honey farm. And honestly, this is the one I have the most conflicting feelings about because some parts of it I really, really like. Like this specific farm area of the entire build. I love it. This is finally where I started using mob heads, and it just really brought the whole space together. Overall, I would say I'm not happy with this build, but I am glad that I made it. I learned a lot while making it, and whilst I enjoy certain parts of it, I dislike many other parts. Like, I really like some of the exterior parts. The front entryway, oh, it turned out so well. But the overall build itself, I don't know why there's still a world edit box there. Anyway, the overall build itself, I'm not that happy with, but some parts of it really did well, in my opinion. I think this was an important build for me to make just to experience making something bad and putting so much work and effort into polishing a pile of poop. Sure, it's a shiny piece of poop, but it's still poop, I guess. I think in the end, I would give this a 5 on appearance, a 6 on my enjoyment during building it, and a 4 on my enjoyment after. Like I said, not all of these are going to be positive, but I do think this was the last negative one. So let's move on to the last two. This is my iron farm, a floating island in the middle of the sky. This one was pretty fun to build, but was an insane challenge overall. I underestimated the difficulty of building and floating island in the sky. Once again, I used Axiom for this. It was very easy to do, just using their build tools and such. But overall, I really like how well this turned out. It's really simple. It doesn't have much decoration aside from the Torii Gate, and it contains a simple farm. I'm pretty happy with this build. So overall, I would give the appearance a 9. I would give the enjoyment during it a 7, and the enjoyment after an 8. Because while building it, it wasn't really that fun. It was a lot more fun than some of the other builds we've seen previously, but I think it was because I was doing it in the sky. So I was making it unnecessarily difficult for myself and was also lamenting over the fact that if I wanted to do more builds in the sky like I was planning on doing, it would require a whole lot more work than I was thinking it would take. But yeah, overall, pretty solid build in my opinion. I'm pretty happy with how well that one turned out. So let's go check out the last one. And actually, the last one is right over here. It's this giant portal and the landscape all around it. I built this in November. It was the last build that I did of 2024. Overall, I very much like this one. I think I would give this one maybe a 9 or a 10 on the appearance of it. The enjoyment during I'd put about a 9, and the enjoyment after I would put at a solid 10. This build was pretty good, in my opinion. Sure, the trees could be a good bit better, but I think since I'm still starting on trees, I think I did a decent job. I was really proud of the landscaping that I did here. I have the what's it called? The Let's Do series. They have grass slabs and dirt slabs and such. So it really brought together this whole landscape and took it from like just this blocky mess into this smooth little transition throughout this entire valley area. If you had seen what this looked like beforehand, it was a mess. It was a mountainside that I just blew up to smithereens. But this is also our spawn area. I wanted to finally clean it up and give myself a proper portal. And I think overall it's pretty good. So yeah, that's all of our builds from the previous year. I'm hoping to do a whole lot more in this coming year because I learned a good bit from doing these. I learned how to just go straight, for lack of a better term, balls to the wall and just try out build ideas that I have. And a lot of times at first, they really suck. But at least I tried it and I'm learning something from doing them. I've taught myself this year not to force myself to like a build just because I've spent time and effort on it. Because honestly, that's how I end up hating some of the builds. Like the Bleeze and Blaze. The Bleeze and Blaze farms. That's why I don't really like them. So I'm hoping in this new year I can finally learn the lesson of just don't be afraid to rip it down and try it all over again. So for this new year, I want to set 2 goals for myself. I want to try to do a build every month, but above all, it must be a build that I'm happy with. So even if I do miss a month or it gets delayed or something, so long as it is a build that I'm happy with, that's the only way I'll do it. So if you'd like to join me on my journey in this upcoming year, please consider subscribing. I also do a building stream on Tuesdays over on Twitch if you would like to come see, give your input, give your critiques, or just come say hi. But I think that's all for today. Hope to see you next time, and thanks for watching.